some time ago I received a call from my credit card company, and they said, well, you have some charges that seem uncharacteristic. And I said, well, what are they? They said, well, there's some jewelry and some a dress or something, I guess. And I said, well, I don't think that's mine. So when I saw I went right to my billfold and looked, and my card was gone. And I had no idea how it had disappeared. And I kept thinking, well, I did go to the gymnasium, and probably there somehow they got into my billfold. But I got the bill, and you could follow their route. They went from here right to the Mall of America. And they began to spend money and had a great time, went out to eat, and bought gas for the car. The bill was $3,000. Luckily, the company didn't make me pay that, but it was an experience of, I don't know if you've ever had that, where something of yours has been taken, or your house has been entered or something. It's like a violation. And people at times snatch things out of our hold. And it's really, I thought of it when that gospel reading today said, we are in God's hands, and you cannot be taken away. God cannot be snatched away from you. It's a great teaching that this Good Shepherd Sunday, to really trust the gentle hand, the gentle touch of our God. And yet probably inside us, even though we would believe it, there is a way that tears away at us. We begin to wonder if we are really in God's hands. I think it happens maybe at a deeper level. We have some sense of almost self-hatred, where we don't really love ourselves. So what God gives to us is a sense of love for who we are and how we're made. And yet within each of us, we sometimes don't have such a strong self-esteem. And we wouldn't believe that all the parts of us are loved. And then I think it sometimes comes out in a self-pity for the ways that our life is unfolding. Or we begin to think, well, nobody's experienced the things that I've had. And they've been a pretty tough thing to hold. And that self-pity wears away at us and pulls us down. Sometimes I think it's envy. That sense that we look around and see others that have seemingly a better life and better things or whatever. And we say, oh, if only I could have that, I would be better. And then there could be within us some bitterness about some person that has maybe hurt us, or even some institution or business. And it leads us sometimes to think we have been treated unjustly. This is not fair, what has happened to us. All those things, it is probably the pain of life that comes to us, have a way of kind of tearing us down a bit. And it is a way in which we would almost believe that God isn't really watching over us. His love is a bit absent in our lives. That's why the assurance of God's holding us, of His gentle touch, that it goes deep within us, really, to relieve us from that sense in our lives. And I believe it begins with a recognition of the pain in our life. We have to admit that it's there. We pretend like those things don't happen to us. We're probably wrong, because all of us carry some, we injustice, some pain. And that awareness and that acceptance is crucial and somehow beginning to work it through so that it doesn't affect us negatively. And I think it often means other people in our life that have to hear our pain, receive us, and not judge us, but listen and help us understand what's happening. Sometimes it's a spouse, maybe a friend. Maybe in our lives we reach a point where we need to see a professional who does that also for us. But whatever, that sense of intimacy with our own selves and with another in a sense allows us to know a bit more joy in our lives. And really to sense, I think, that hand of God. And when we look at the bigger picture and really the movement of our lives, we get a sense that, God's gentle hand has guided us, has been faithful, continues to hold us. It's really what we are reminded today, that that presence doesn't go away, not going to drop us. One of the places where I think we find that, and I think it's why we come to a community like this to pray, is that hopefully in a believing faith community, we create an atmosphere where we can come each week. And it's true that in a week's time we kind of get torn down maybe a little bit about things that happen. We come here and are reminded that as a group, as a community, we care for one another, and we believe truly that God is present here in our midst. And it builds us up, it lifts us up again. In the rack in HQ, I believe there's a little pamphlet, and if you would just take a moment to look at it. It shows really a lot of what we do as a parish. It's a way really that we want to make Christ present to all who come here. And a few times during the year we want to give you the chance to be involved at some level again in your life, because we believe that the engagement and the involvement that you have in your community of faith is very important, because it is there that you see God's gentle touch. Let me just highlight a couple of things that we are especially in need of. In the first column on the inside, the catechist really for children or youth or RCIA, all of that. If you have an interest, we always need those. In the second column, baptism. We have so many baptisms, and we try to educate and go really to each home of those who come for baptism. It's a big task. And if you have an interest in walking with young parents, it would be great, and we would help you do it. Youth ministry, of course, is always a need. And on the back, we liturgically, sacristans, we could always use those. It's a great, it really helps me a lot, I know, and it's a good opportunity. And below, ushers are in need, and then we parish mentor couples for those who are new members. That's another thing really that's been growing at St. John's, is how do we reach out to those who are joining us, that walk in and don't know us. It's another great ministry that doesn't take a lot of training, but just the ability to reach out to others. So take a few minutes just to look it over, and if you have an interest in anything, please check it, and you can just throw it in the basket as a collection.